Welcome, my name is Oliver. I am a robot, but enough about me. This isn't about me, this is about Saul and Richard, and video games, and the universe. So come with us, or more specifically, with them. Enter the save state, save state, save state, save state, save state.
Hello everybody, welcome to episode 17 of the Save State Gaming Podcast. As always, my name is Saul. With me, we've got the wonderful
Dick Francis Hornby. Welcome to episode 7 of the Save State Gaming Podcast.
Seven? Gone back in time, Chud.
Whoa!
17.
Episode 17.
You alright?
Waggin College to Smoke in the Forest. That's what this episode's called.
Great, because we need a title. Do you know what? I always struggle to come up with titles. I always listen to the podcast again through 2 or 3 times. Yeah. Still no better. So usually just.
That is what we were doing when we were 17. Is not attending class and going smoking things in the forest.
So what's the episode? What are we calling it?
It's called episode 17. Waggin College to Smoke in a Forest.
Nice. Well, do you know what? That ties into our question of the week, doesn't it? Being 17. Those are the days, weren't they, Chud? Those are the days.
Yeah, they were alright. Yeah.
Kissing Claire behind the bike shed.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it didn't go well, that, did it?
No.
Anyway, welcome everybody, welcome. We're going to start, as we always do, with what we have been playing. Chud?
All sorts, mate, all sorts. It's been a while, hasn't it? But I came into a bit of money recently, so
really?
I decided to treat myself to one of them. Have you heard of these Nintendo Switches? Have you heard of this?
No, tell me. Sounds interesting.
Basically, yeah, the new Nintendo console, the portable mainline on your big telly hybrid. Got myself one of them.
Have you actually got one? You don't sound too sure about this.
Oh yeah, I've got one.
You got one? Okay.
Yeah, I got one. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. So yeah, and I got the Breath of the Wild, the game that everybody has been raging about and saying is the greatest game of all time, top of the list on Metacritic until Jim Sterling took it down a notch. I'm going to keep it brief because it's quite an old game, but my only comment on this, and this basically sums up exactly how I feel about the game, is there's a moment in the game, okay, where you get your shield out and you learn that you can use that shield to surf down a hill like a snowboard.
Right.
And I thought, whoa, and so I whizzed it out and I started snowboarding down this hill and I was like, oh, this is amazing, this is so much fun, I love the freedom we got this game, and then all of a sudden my shield degenerated. I was like, what? And I was sliding down the hill a bit longer and then my shield just basically disintegrated and fucked up.
Okay.
So this game, basically, your weapons, they just disintegrate really, really quickly. So every time you're about to start having some fun, the game seems to just basically get in its own way.
Interesting.
If you understand what I mean. It's
interesting.
So there's that. Yeah. It's also slightly too difficult.
Okay.
Something really weird happened with my voice then. So it is a good game. I'm 17. I was a late starter. So yeah, it's a good game, but it's not a great game because, as I say, it just keeps getting in its own way, basically.
Just to really quickly touch on what you were saying, as you progress through the game, do weapons degenerate less quickly?
Nope. It lasts about. You get literally. It takes the piss. These weapons need to stay together for at least, I'd say, 4 times longer than they do.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean?
So are weapons quite easy to come across?
Yeah, they are. But it's just the whole thing of having to basically go into your menu real quick. This is the thing. You pause and you're going into your menu. It's really getting in the way of organic gameplay. You know what I mean? It's getting in its own way constantly, under its own feet all the time.
I guess also it's giving very unrealistic expectations about the number of weapons that a small boy is able to carry.
That is true.
Yeah, I think quite unrealistic there. But I mean, do you think that the 10s out of 10s are warranted? Is that your only gripe with the game?
No, they're not warranted. Of course they're not. It's overrated, this game. It's a good game, and I like it. I like it a lot. But as I say, it's an overrated game.
But you can climb anything, Chud.
You can climb anything, and I love that aspect. But as I say, as soon as I start to have fun with it, something just happens.
Your stick breaks, your sword breaks.
Even my sword breaks or I get killed. Seriously, I've been playing this game for about 25-30 hours now. I'm still getting one-hit killed by this, that and the other. It's like Dark Souls meets Zelda. And you know what, I love Dark Souls, but not in my Zelda.
Yeah. Fair enough. I still don't have a Switch, and you won't give me yours. I tried to give you 20 quid for it, but you quite rudely declined. So I'm going to pick one up probably in the next month or two, maybe treat myself for Christmas.
Get one this week, and then you can play Mario Odyssey 2-player.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. I'd love to, but no, I think I've got a crazy backlog at the moment on my PS4. Like, want to get Wolfenstein as well. I've got to get through South Park, Shadow of War. But let's come on to those in a little bit. What else have you been playing?
As I brought up Mario Odyssey, I picked that up yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, time is a flat circle, people. It means nothing to me, so I don't really know. But yeah, wonderful. Oh, great game so far. I'm having a blast. I'm having a shit ton of fun with it. It's what you'd expect. It's a mainline Mario game. It comes with all the charm and the personality of Nintendo's A-team, and just like Breath of the Wild, I suppose. But this one, Mario Odyssey, isn't getting in its own way. It's just fun.
It's just Mario.
With it, it's got a badass soundtrack as well. Basically, you play Mario, who's basically turned into some sort of vampire. I think we've covered this before. You have your hat. The whole gimmick of the game is you got this hat which is basically alive, and you throw the hat, and by doing that, Mario takes over the the enemy or possesses.
Okay,
that's the word I was looking for.
Okay, cool. Anything else that you've noticed interesting in the game? Any other new mechanics? Or does the game pretty much entirely hinge around the hat thing?
It is hinged around that, but I'm not really doing it justice, because it's the kind of game where you're playing it and then you just see something and you think, this is just crazy enough to work, basically.
Right.
So you'll end up throwing it at a Goomba and then piling all Goombas on top of each other, and then making this big pile of Goombas go over to this girl Goomba with a hat on it, because the Goombas is so tall, the Goomba falls in love, gives you your star. It's just crazy shit like that.
God damn it,
it's great
Nintendo.
fun. It's just one of those games I've just been laughing my ass off and just having a good time.
Good.
I got The Evil Within 2 the other week, and I must say, colour me disappointed.
Oh, shoulda.
I know I love Shinji Mikami. Is that have I pronounced that right? I don't know. I love all of his games. Basically, he's the guy who did Resident Evil, and then a couple of years ago, he returned to his survival horror roots and did The Evil Within, which was basically a love letter to all the old horror games. This one, I was looking forward to it. As I say, fan of the first one. Alarm bells start to ring when the opening credits. When I noticed that our old boy Shinji Mikami is the executive producer and not the director. And in that director slot, there's an American name.
Right.
And after that's followed a very American game.
Okay.
So, the problem with it, it's sort of pseudo semi-open world, which survival horror games really shouldn't be to me. They're all about the director taking you by the hand and playing with the beats of what horror is and just screaming with your emotions. You can't really do that in an open world game, and the worst thing about it for me is the fact that I'm about halfway through and I've always got a shit ton of ammo.
You see, man.
And even within one, I'd never have more than... It gave you like 3 bullets at a time at the beginning, and it felt incredibly strict. This one I've got like 30 bullets. It's more like an action game.
So I mean, like when you say it's open world, I mean obviously it's not like Grand Theft Auto open world, but kind of like Tomb Raider open world kind of thing.
Get so you go. It's like Total Recall basically. You get sent into like a village, like a little town that's inside your own mind. That's probably not explaining this. So it's like a town inside your own subconscious, and you go there and you're running around this town. And it's like small little open worlds. Like chapter 3 is this open world,
like little hubs,
little hubs, and you can go about it in a different way. Then you're going to. I'm on chapter 7 now, which is a different little open world, which is exactly the same as the chapter 3. It's just a bit, but there is something to like about it, and like. When you're exploring the open world, you can go into a house and then all of a sudden something crazy will happen and it'll do the whole thing that it did in the first one, where all of a sudden you'll be somewhere completely different. You're tripping out, and then you'll be in a different environment, and stuff like that happens occasionally. But
so is it scary?
No.
No.
Although I'm saying that I did put it on the other night and had to turn it off because I was in the house on my own. So
Okay.
I guess
So-
it is a little bit scary, but it's
More of like a psychological.
more of a psychological as opposed to it's not
Straight horror.
There are no jump scares. There are jump scares, but none that's actually got me or anything like that.
Okay.
Just because it's not pulling you in the way that it would do if you had me going down, a pathway.
Yeah, it's a shame that because you were a big fan of the Evil Within 1 and you were always trying to get me to play it again. And I played probably the first 2 hours of that game 4 or 5 times, and then just put it down. Never went back to it. So it sounds like the Evil Within 2 is not for me at all.
You might like it. What you didn't like about the first one might be what you like about the second one.
It's yeah, maybe I get that. I see your point, but there's too many games, man. It's peak game season, isn't it? It's coming to Christmas.
It's a very stressful time.
It is a very
isn't it?
stressful time
Because you just feel like you're not fulfilling your own obligations
I
to the inner child inside yourself.
it's that fear of missing out, isn't it? It's
It is
like
that fear of
so
missing
many
out.
good games.
I'm trying to conquer that fear, though. I really am. I don't want to let that, rule me because it just. I don't feel like I'm enjoying games anymore. As we've stated many, many times, we just seem to spend so much money and then play games for like an hour or two, and then we just get confused about what we need. One game a month for me. That's what I want.
I mean, 2017 has been incredible, right? A very, very, very good year for games.
People say this. I don't kind of bite as much as
Yeah.
what people think. It's not as good as that year when we got like Fallout 4 and Witcher 3 and Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, fair enough.
That was a better year.
2015. Yeah.
So what did we get this year? We got the Switch, which has been very successful as that too.
Yeah. I
Major-
mean, if you go back to the beginning of the year, stuff like Horizon.
Oh yeah, that was Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
They're my two favourite games of the year
Yeah.
so far.
And there's still, quite a lot of stuff to look forward to. Obviously, there's Assassin's Creed Origins just come out.
That's just come out. But I'm being a good boy. I'm not going to get it until next month.
Good boy.
Yeah.
Good boy. Is this because trying to
Like
save money
biscuit.
or like trying to enjoy games?
It's both really. Trying to save money, but also trying to enjoy games more.
Cool.
Because you got to get to that point when you finish something, you get that satisfaction.
Yeah.
Loose ends, man. Loose ends are a bad thing for the old psychology.
Yeah. What else have we had this year? Destiny 2.
Yeah,
Played a lot of that.
We
Played
rinsed
a lot of Destiny 2.
until I hard quitted. Did you not notice at one point we were playing online a lot with a little crew,
Like most nights,
and then
right, yeah.
like most nights for hours and hours there was me, him, and another dude, and we were playing for hours and hours every night. And then I got a Switch, and then I never came back again. I was just there. You never saw me again.
But yeah, in my opinion, 2017's been really, really good for games this year, and we've still got a couple of months left. And coming into the main holiday season, the main push for games, I think it's going to be really good. Shall we'll move on to the news?
Far Cry 5, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, that's next year though, isn't it? That's February, I think. It's February 2018.
Oh, good.
So yeah, I think that's been pushed a little bit into next year.
Good, because I was kind of not freaking out, but I was like, next month I want to get Assassin's Creed, but I bet Far Cry 5 comes out and I kind of want to play that with you online.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Peer pressure, people.
Osterman syndrome, the lack of interest in television caused by excessive channel changing can be tragic. Send your donations to the National Osterman Syndrome Foundation, Box 19A, General Delivery, Gazoo's Mistake, Nebraska.
So that's sort of what's been filling my time this month. Saul, what have you been playing?
A few things. Let's start with South Park. Let's start talking about South Park. Played it for about 3 or 4 hours. Really enjoying it. I was a big fan of the first one, and it's pretty much more of the same. I like the new combat system. It's a bit more in depth. Now you kind of have almost like a lane system, so you can move between 3 lanes, and it's much more about your positioning. So I like that. There's a hell of a lot of customization in terms of weapons and characters. My only problem with it is I don't find myself laughing as much as I did out loud to the first one, and I don't know whether that's because the humour isn't as well written, whether my humour has changed.
Is it still written by the creators?
Yeah, totally, yeah. I think the thing that I've noticed so far is that there isn't as many of the big set pieces, right?
Nazi babies.
Yeah, Kim Kardashian's aborted fetus. Okay, there doesn't seem to be as many of those big boss battles, that kind of stuff.
Big what the fuck moments.
Yeah, exactly. Like fucking swinging, dodging Randy Marsh's balls and all that kind of stuff. I've only played it for a few hours, so that kind of stuff might come down further down the line. But the impression that I'm getting is just more of the same. But I don't know whether it's me that's changed, whether the humour isn't as good in this game. It's still funny as hell, but like I said, I think without those big standout moments, just a little bit slacking from it.
Fair enough. Do you know South Park the TV series? Have you heard of it? It's a TV show. TV show as well. Seriously.
What?
Yeah, I think they did a TV show after the game. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. In all seriousness, though,
Weird.
I've got to say, South Park the TV series. I mean, is it still a comedy? Where are these jokes?
I haven't watched any South Park in a long time. I mean, what are we up to? Like season 17, 21. Fucking hell.
I've seen the first 2 episodes and it's just I'm bored.
Really?
I find it boring now, to be honest with you.
Huh.
I don't particularly find it that clever. It certainly isn't funny anymore.
Interesting. Let's move on from South Park. Shadow of War, played about the same amount of that, maybe 3 or 4 hours. Liking it. Again, more of the same.
Shadow of loot boxes.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that later on. I will say that I like what it does at the beginning of the game, where very quickly you get back all the powers that you had pretty much at the end of the first one. So it doesn't do the thing where it's like, start the game, take away all your powers, you have to
The old Metroid!
The old Metroid fucking gag, exactly. So I like that. Like I said, 2 hours in, I already feel really, really powerful. I can see the kind of direction that it's going in, being able to possess the orcs, build up your army, attack fortresses and all that kind of stuff. That I think I'm really, really going to enjoy when I get to it. But at the moment I'm just dipping in and out, like an hour here, an hour there, every couple of nights. So we'll see. I'll maybe have more for you on that from the next episode. And really, really quickly, the other game that I've been playing a lot of is Overcooked. Probably talked about that a little bit before on the podcast.
Maybe.
I got a friend staying with me at the flat at the moment who used to be a chef, and I was trying to think of something that we could play together, and Overcooked was the first thing that came to mind, and it's been fantastic. Like, this dude is not a gamer, but Overcooked is so simple, so easy to understand that we're having a lot of fun playing it together. Pretty stressful, but again, that's how working in a kitchen is. So yeah, really, really good. If you've not played Overcooked and you're looking for a really good, decent couch co-op multiplayer game, fantastic. It would be perfect, fucking perfect on the Switch, man. Perfect on the Switch. So maybe that's coming down the line.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Anything else you've been playing, Saul?
I'm just gonna move on.
I'm feeling it's gonna move on.
Let's move on.
Gonna move on.
Fucking sick of it. Fed up.
All right.
Fed up. Okay, moving on to the news. First bit of news this week. It's a little bit of old news, but I thought we'd just touch on it. Just like I touched your mum. The SNES Mini. SNES Mini, let's talk about that. How much have you played of the SNES Mini?
I've had it for about 3 weeks and I've played it for about 3 hours.
About an hour a week.
About an hour a week.
About an hour a week.
Great collection of games, but
Yep.
I don't feel compelled to buy it because I've got too many things to play. Buy it, play it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah, it's by far the best compilation of games ever made and put into one package. It's wonderful. It looks beautiful, but same. Like, I don't really have the urge to go back and play many 20-year-old games. As great as they are, like, I just don't. There's too much of the stuff to
There are
play.
some real classics in this, but we've been through it many times before. The other thing I have been playing, I played a fair bit of Super Mario RPG.
Okay.
That's what I spent most of the 3 hours with. And
Yeah.
it's like baby's first RPG. It's like
Okay.
one of the old Final Fantasy games. It was made by Square with Nintendo.
Right.
But obviously with Nintendo characters. And it's good. It's very easy. I've not died once, but
Okay.
it was good fun for the 3 hours I played. I may well go back to it. Don't know. The other thing that I did play was Star Fox 2.
Huh, any good?
The game that was nearly released, never was, back in '95. Any good? No.
No. No, that's
No,
what I'm
it's
hearing.
not. I think
Yeah.
we've just discovered why it wasn't released. I'm incredibly disappointed. Anybody who's ever played the first Star Fox game, you're expecting those, linear action arcadey levels, and it's not. It's sort of like an open flight simulator, but on the SNES, so it's only ever like you versus one other person.
Yeah,
It was incredibly revolutionary at the time, but my god, it sucks now.
Yeah, I think like it was obviously, if it was going to be released at the time of development, then it would have been a late SNES game.
For a SNES game, it would have been revolutionary.
Yeah. But I think by that point, obviously, like the hardware is getting really pushed. 3D games are now becoming more prevalent.
64 was right around the corner.
Exactly. So
the Ultra 64, as it was called.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Little tidbit for you though.
It's better. I prefer that name.
Ultra 64.
Yeah. So I think no great surprises there that it's old and outdated and doesn't play that well, but it's a nice bit of history, and really commendable for Nintendo to include that in the collection.
Yeah,
really good.
Well, I should have told the guy who made it, but never mind.
Yeah. But let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about the biggest piece of news this week is that EA are closing down Visceral Studios. So EA currently hold the license for Star Wars, right? And the next big Star Wars game was currently being developed at Visceral. Not talking about Battlefront 2, but Visceral were working on an untitled Star Wars game. So a little bit of background about this. The project was being led by a lady called Amy Hennig, who used to work at Naughty Dog. She moved over to EA.
Wasn't she?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was the lead writer, I think, on
number 2.
I think a couple of them. I think 1, 2, maybe even 3, perhaps. I don't remember. But she is an incredible writer. She is probably the best in the world, at making these single-player, linear, story-driven, narrative-driven games. Like there's nobody that does it as well as her in terms of making characters and character development. Anyway, moving on. So she was working on this game over at Visceral Studios, and EA came out and basically said that we're closing the studio. The game is going to move to another studio, but it's going to have quite a big shift in direction. So the statement really annoyed me that EA made because it was fucking stupid, man. The statement basically said that the game is turning out to be a single-player, narrative-driven action game. Like, well, yeah.
Well, yeah. You bought a bill of goods, the guy.
You got the best
writer
of single-player games in the world.
You got what
did you
for.
expect? But they basically said that they've been studying market trends, Destiny, and what people have been playing lately, Destiny, and what people want, which is now
what they think people want.
Yeah, exactly. They're basically taking it over to the games as a service model. So they're looking at creating a game which people will play for a couple of years, hopefully sink hundreds of dollars into microtransactions, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be multiplayer Destiny kind of game in some form. So I didn't want that. I wanted a single player.
I did as well. I think a lot of people did.
Yeah. So,
but the group of 20, 13-year-old boys in the focus group, probably didn't. I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm not a 13-year-old boy, am I? So,
it's a shame, man, because we haven't had a proper single-player Star Wars game since Old Republic. Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah, because we were going to have 1313, which got cancelled, which then got turned into this game at Visceral, and now this has been cancelled again.
God's sake.
So, I mean, we're looking another 4 years until this game maybe sees the light of day. I think it depends,
And we all know what happens to games that take that long to... it's not good, is it? It's not a good thing. Nukem Forever, we're looking at you.
Last Guardian.
I like The Last Guardian.
Yeah, well, you're wrong. You're objectively wrong, but it's okay.
Did you play The Last Guardian?
I did, yeah, I finished it.
You didn't like it?
I didn't say that.
You did. It's exactly what you just said.
No, you said... I can't remember what you said. I liked it. It was not worth waiting 10 years for. Let's put it that way.
Well, yeah, that doesn't matter. I still enjoyed it.
No, it does matter.
Give it a flat 4 stars.
4 stars?
Yeah.
I would give it 3.
Okay.
Agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree. Yes.
So again, got another quite a few years I think to go before the next decent Star Wars single player game is. Obviously we've got Battlefront 2 around the corner, which has they're saying that the campaign for that game is probably about between 5 and 6 hours. So nothing particularly
to give us a 1 player.
Yes. Thank you. Looking forward to that, but I would much rather have had an Amy Hennig Star Wars game. That would have been awesome. Next piece of news. This week, over in Gay Paris, is going to be Paris Games Week. Sony have come out and said that they're going to announce 7. Is that right? 7 new games at Paris Games Week, which is...
Exactly, yeah.
I don't think anybody
They said that E3 is half the story. So we're going to get
Wow.
7 new things, I guess.
Yes.
Coming next week.
Yeah, hopefully.
So we're gonna get Pandemonium. We're gonna get Spyro the Dragon. We're gonna get Croc.
Remastered HD 4K trilogy.
Yeah, we're gonna get Medieval 3.
Yep. Siphon Filter.
Siphon Filter. Fear Effect.
PlayStation Battle Royale.
Stars,
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Crash Team Racing.
We're up to about 9 now.
Crash Team Racing is going to be there as well.
You heard it here first.
Music for the PlayStation.
Dude, move! Oh, dude!
Music is coming back.
And Music 2000.
Yeah.
We're going to have Music 2017.
Music 2017.
Yeah, it's going to be mint.
And what else was there? The demo disc you got with the T-Rex, where you can move the T-Rex and then you make it talk. That is coming back as a
fully fledged AAA $60 game.
$60 game. No, it's games as a service. T-Rex as a service.
Dude, it wouldn't surprise me the way the fucking industry's going. But in all seriousness, what else do you think we're going to see? Any
Spyro.
predictions?
I reckon Spyro.
You reckon Spyro
remake? Because people want that. I don't think.
I
was a snob towards that because I had an N64, so I was playing the really good 3D platformers at the time.
I don't think anybody wants Spyro, but I think we're going to get it anyway.
I hear that. What about Crash Team Racing? I'd like to see something.
I think that's a fucking no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like, the Insane Trilogy did really well.
Yeah.
I think better than anybody expected. There isn't, apart from, what was it, like Mod Nation Races or something like that on the PS3, there isn't. Sony doesn't have a decent kart racer. So I think there's definitely the market there for it.
Yeah,
I think that's a no-brainer.
What are we going for, a new one, or are we going for a HD?
Oh no, I think it'll be a brand new. I don't think they'll remaster it. I think it'll be a new Crash Team Racing.
Yeah, maybe the Insane Trilogy was just testing the waters.
Yeah, I think so.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, see if there's.
I said a brainwave.
Come on.
What
I thought you were having a stroke.
Resident Evil 2 remake. We've not heard about that in years. Whatever happened to that?
It's true.
This could be it.
I don't know whether it's Paris Games Week. I think that's the kind of thing that they'd announce at the PSX, at PlayStation Conference.
Okay, when's that? It's in December, isn't it?
November. It's not long.
Not long away. Lots to look forward to.
I think
Get on board the hype train. Choo choo. Okay, we just did that. God help me.
I think definitely something we'll see is Detroit Become Human.
Yeah.
Developed by Quantic Dream. That's a studio that's based in Paris. It's a PlayStation exclusive.
That'll probably be on last then, won't it?
I think so, yeah. I think we'll get extended gameplay and release date. I'm going to say spring 2018 with a bit of luck. I think that 6-month kind of window from announcement to release date announcement to actual release, I think that's really good. It's working for a lot of games at the moment. I think Sony are going to try and employ that for Detroit Become Human. Really excited about that game, man. Really excited. Loved Heavy Rain. Can't wait for it.
I played Indigo Prophecy, which was known as Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
In England.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but you tried to get me into that. I gave it a go, but I couldn't quite get there.
They had the game before that they released was called Omicron: The Nomad Soul. They have some really bad names for their games, man. In fact,
Willem Dafoe Simulator.
I've just we had
Brush that off.
Nomicron, Nomad Soul.
Yeah.
We had Beyond Two Souls. We had
Willem Dafoe Soul.
I was trying to think. I don't know where I was going with that. Souls. David Cage likes Souls.
Your soul is mine. Maybe he's like immortal and he like. Is he like a particularly good-looking gentleman? Have you seen a picture?
No, he's quite balding.
Does he look like he has any form of magical powers?
He could be a wizard. If you put a pointy hat on him, dressed him up, he's got a bit of a beard, a bit of stubble.
But anybody could be a wizard if you put a pointy hat and a bit of a beard.
That's true,
That is basically all you need to be a wizard.
What would David Cage's magical power be then?
Making
weird...
wishing he was a director of the movie. That's what his magic power would be.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah. So yeah, Paris Games Week to look forward to this week. We'll maybe have some more news on the announcements that come out of that on the next episode.
Right on.
Next piece of news, October 27th. Very special day. Special day.
Did you get your period?
Yeah. October 27th was a great fucking day, Chud.
For gaming.
In the history of the world. No, not just for gaming. In the history of the world.
Why is that so?
We had three great games come out October 27th. We had Wolfenstein, the New Colossus, we had Assassin's Creed Origin, and we had, of course, Mario Odyssey. So, good luck.
Is it that good, really, forget about it? Because Assassin's Creed Origin, I do want it because I'm a bit of an Assassin's Creed fanboy, but it's just... this one just strikes me as another one that is just going to be swept under the carpet in a year or two. It doesn't strike me as a particularly all-time classic. I'm hearing it's a good game, but not a particularly revolutionary one. It's just another really pretty, serviceable AAA game. It's not a legendary title, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, it's getting like 8.5.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that from what I'm seeing, they have changed up the formula quite a lot.
Apparently it's a lot like Witcher 3, which I think I mentioned some other time.
Yeah, so like weapon drops are like loot. They're randomised, you get legendary weapons. It's much more of an RPG.
And do they explode after 2 hits, do they?
And like enemies now have health bars above their head. You hit them and the numbers pop out of them, showing you how much damage you're doing. It's an RPG. It's a fucking RPG. Which is, it's fine, like that's fine. But I still don't... It hasn't changed enough for me to want to go and play it again. I like the idea of it being set in Egypt, but I still don't think it's going to do enough to make me want to go back and play it.
I reckon I'll get it in a couple of weeks.
You reckon?
Yeah, just because, as I say, I've got a bit of a soft spot for it.
We already talked about Mario Odyssey. You highly praised it.
Great game so far.
Yeah. And it's getting, I think, I checked last night, it was 97 on Metacritic, which is like just on track to be...
Breath of the Wild. Yeah. Yeah, so they're doing really well so far with the Switch games.
Yeah.
A bit worried though, because we've got Metroid coming out next year, and that's about it, folks. Unless you consider Yoshi, which I don't really.
I think that the indie scene is really, really helping to keep the Switch alive. You've got stuff like Stardew Valley, Snipper Clips, all these really, really cool...
Golf Story.
Yeah, I heard that's excellent. The other game I was going to talk about that came out was Wolfenstein. I love Wolfenstein. The New Blood and the New Order, was it called? The Old Blood, the New Order, the Old Blood.
The Old Blood was the standalone effort.
Yeah, they are both excellent games, and everything that I'm seeing of the New Colossus is just the same thing dialed up to like 12. I mean, I love it.
Big number.
I can go bigger.
There aren't any bigger
Fucking
numbers
best
than
believe I
12.
can go bigger than 12. Yeah, so I will probably get that in the next couple of weeks, and again have a bit more on that maybe next week. We'll see.
Cool. Get it on disc form because apparently it's better disc.
Is it?
Yeah, it looks better. It's got an extra level.
Really?
You can lend it to me.
More Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So October 27th, really, really good day for games, and again just adding more to this brilliant year, in my opinion, that has been 2017.
Welcome. Thank you. I'll buy it at a high price.
Last piece of news I want to talk about. It's been in the news for about the last couple of weeks, mainly stemming from, I think it started recently with Destiny 2, then we've kind of moved on to Shadow of War, and we're talking about microtransactions, right? Now, is it fair to say, Chudder, microtransactions generally get pretty bad rep amongst most gamers?
Yeah, I guess so. It depends what kind of gamer you are, really. I think the more casual gamers don't really particularly mind.
Yeah.
But people like me and you see it as the second coming of the Antichrist.
Have you ever bought microtransactions?
I don't think I ever have. Never ever.
You bought DLC, obviously, but not...
I bought DLC, but that's different.
Yeah.
But I've never, paid 50p to buy a fancy new hat.
Or
anything.
No, you're right. The second coming of the devil is maybe a little hyperbolic, but it's not good in my opinion.
Is it?
I don't know. Time will tell. It's been in the news a lot lately because basically, the idea that you can pay a little bit of extra money to get an advantage over other players. So you buy your brand new game for 50 quid or whatever, but then you still, to get the best gear and to be the best at the game, you still have to spend more money, giving you an unfair advantage over other players, right? So there's a whole load of directions you can go with this conversation, but let's start with gambling. Do you consider loot boxes to be gambling? Or microtransactions to be gambling?
So the process of putting down your money to basically have a random drop to hopefully get... say for example you put it towards a box and it's full of hats, like in Mario. Mario doesn't have microtransactions, by the way. So this is hypothetical.
Yeah.
And you really want a top hat. So the only way to get this top hat is to put down £1 to go down like a Magic's kind of like, one-arm bandit slot machine. And you get a fisherman's, what's he called? Captain Birdseye. You get a Captain Birdseye cap, which I really, really want one of those. It's basically paying money to get something random. It is kind of gambling, if you ask me.
And I guess because there's no guarantee you're actually going to get the item you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Interestingly, the ESRB, which is the rating board for games in the US, actually kind of weighed into this argument. And they said that they don't see it as gambling for the simple reason that you're not earning real-world currency. So you're spending real-world currency to get items, whether
Shouldn't
they
that be the most important part of that, though? The whole of you spending the money as opposed to what you're earning back money. Why is the proposition of actually winning something back the thing that makes it gambling, and not why isn't the fact that you actually put your own money out there at a risk for not getting any kind of reward? Isn't that what gambling is?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I do agree with you. I think what we're getting stuck on here is like the legal terminology, right? So when you are winning something, when you are getting a financial reward for a random event or something that you have little control over, that's gambling, right? But because you aren't getting an actual real world financial reward from these games, I agree that I think it's gambling, but in legal terms, I don't think it isn't.
Then again, I just had a thought. You are still getting something though. Maybe it's not something that you want, but you are still getting something technically.
But you can't.
So maybe it isn't gambling, but morally, still, I don't particularly.
Oh yeah, it operates 100% on the same principles as gambling.
Yeah.
The difference is there's no real world benefit to it. So I think
also the thing that makes me think it's evil is that it plays with people who are gambling addicts. If people have these kind of compulsions, these kind of addictions, this kind of thing will easily suck them in, and it's not being regulated at all by anybody.
100%.
So that means it's fucking evil. Yeah. It's big business taking advantage of people who have problems.
Well, I mean that's business. It's finding out where you can make money, and you make the money wherever you can. Like, even if you're going to exploit,
there's got to be ethics, though. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. No, I don't get me wrong. I totally agree, but I see why EA and Activision do it, because they're concerned about making money and not people's mental health.
That's a bad thing. It's bad.
But it's really interesting because this is why. Forget the actual reward side of it. But talking about like the psychological effect of like random loot boxes, it keeps you coming back to a game. It's why Destiny 2 is so addictive. It's like, maybe on the next one I'll get that legendary weapon that I want. No, okay, let's just play another hour.
Yeah,
it's that,
and then you get the reward.
Yeah,
you get the
satisfaction,
the dopamine, the endorphins, all that shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's the same as those rats in the lab, right in the cheese, getting electric shocks.
Now, so for that's really smart. If you can employ that device, that technique to keep people coming back to your game year upon year, I don't have a problem with that at all. It's the money aspect that I do have a problem with. It's paying for an actual advantage.
That's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah. So I think that microtransactions can be split into a few categories, right? Because not all microtransactions give you an actual advantage in games. Some of them are purely aesthetic, right? Totally fine with that. If you want to pay 20 quid, get some new Overwatch character skins, not a problem, right? I think that there was a really interesting interview with a developer of Mass Effect 3 I was reading the other day, and this guy was not in charge of, but he worked with the microtransaction economy in this game, and he said that quite regularly he would see people spending $15,000, $10,000 on Mass Effect 3 microtransactions.
This is one person.
One person. Yeah.
How do you spend that much money on Mass Effect 3?
I don't know. Somebody loves the game.
What was there to buy on that game?
I don't know. I don't know.
Can't remember.
Don't even remember.
I love that game though.
But
Haters gonna hate though.
I think that the point is that like for the last 20 years, games have been between $50-$60, right, for a big budget AAA game.
Well, did they not used to be £40 in England?
Maybe you're right.
And
No,
then
you see, I remember going. I've got a really clear memory of going into Toys R Us and seeing Toy Story and it being 55 quid. And there's a Toy Story on the Mega Drive, and this is
Cheese.
a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
So that now is probably more like 80 quid. Do you know what I mean? So if anything, we could even maybe say that games are cheaper than they've ever been, in some ways, because we have like £10 games, everything up to £60 games. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is a much bigger spectrum of price.
Do you remember when the N64 first came out? I'm sure Mario 64 was like £100.
Yeah.
I heard that. What the fuck?
Because cartridges are a lot more expensive to produce, and the thing is that the Nintendo own the rights to the Nintendo cartridge, so every game that gets sold, part of that money goes to Nintendo just for the cartridge. You know, like I remember I can't remember exactly, but NES cartridges, it was something like $15 from the price of a game was the price of the cartridge alone. You know, and that obviously goes straight to Nintendo.
Why didn't they just go with CDs?
It's Nintendo, ain't it? Crackheads.
Well, as you said, they made a lot of money from the cartridges, and this is why they're so rich.
Yep. So, I mean, let's kind of close the microtransactions thing down. It's like the games have been this price-ish for the last 15 years. Games now are more expensive than ever to make. If you look at like the budget for things like, what was the budget for Destiny? It was like 500 million, wasn't it? So developers are having to find other ways to kind of create new revenue streams, supplement this income. So I understand why microtransactions exist. I don't necessarily agree with them, and I don't agree the methods that they are used in to make the money. But I understand the need for them. Meeting
you halfway, because I completely agree with that. It is unfair with us, to as you say, it costs so much more on the overheads and everything like that, and they're not making it back. They need to find different ways. What if they did these microtransactions, etc., for things that are, not pay to win, and also more importantly, not gambling? So you know what you're getting.
You're talking about
you're paying for, that horse armor or whatever have you in the single player game. But also, one final point: games are more expensive to make than ever, but games are also selling better than they ever have as well.
That's true. Yeah, that's a really good point. There are now more gamers, for want of a better term. Didn't
Grand Theft Auto 5 make the already rich Rockstar incredibly even more wealthy than they already were? How much money did that game make them? That has no microtransactions.
No, it does.
At the time, it didn't. Let's just the day it came out, it was the best selling. It was the most money anybody ever made on video games, wasn't it? And that
3
was
days. In 3 days, the first 3 days of release, it made $1 billion.
Yeah, there's no.
I don't know the exact cost, but I'd imagine that game probably cost about 200 million to make.
Yeah.
So probably within the first 5-6 hours of being on release, it made its money back. You know what I mean? Now, Grand Theft Auto 5, every single fucking month since it's been released, and that was 4 years ago. It's always been in the top 10 best-selling games. That game is like, it's a money tree. You know what I mean? It's an absolute money tree. And remember, people have been asking for single-player content for Grand Theft Auto 5. They're never going to get it.
No.
Because Grand Theft Auto Online is just this, like I said, a money tree. It just prints money for them. So, we'll see what that means for Red Dead Redemption. I think it's going to be the very similar thing. I really, really hope Red Dead Redemption 2 gets Undead Nightmare. Do you ever play the Undead Nightmare?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. One of the best.
I bet it does.
I really hope it does.
I'm really looking forward to playing the multiplayer for Red Dead Redemption 2 because I love the multiplayer in the first one.
Yeah,
it was good fun. Joining posses, running around.
Yeah.
Playing Karud.
I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be as successful as Grand Theft Auto Online, but I think it's going to be very, very good. Yeah, very good. Question of the week. So, a few hours before we recorded this episode, we put up on our Facebook page if you guys wanted to leave us any comments or any questions that we could answer, and we got two that we're going to delve into in a bit more detail. First of all, thanks for Scotty. What does Scotty ask, Judd? What's Scotty got to say for himself?
Scotty asked, if you could interview any fictional video game character, who would it be? And what would you say? So Saul, I'd like you to go first.
The first one, I'm gonna say Kratos.
Kratos.
First thing I'd do,
God of War.
Yeah, sitting down, give him a green tea, something that's going to chill him out a little bit, and just really figure out why are you so angry, man?
Yeah.
What's wrong? You okay?
Didn't he see like all of his family get brutally murdered in front of him, like his wife and his kids?
You know, you can
Isn't
get over that, can't you? You can get over it
with green tea.
Yeah, green tea will help. Just I think more than anything, he needs a hug, and just
I reckon
counselling.
Counselling.
Yeah.
I reckon if you hugged him, he'd like fight it at first, and then he'd slowly burst into tears.
Yeah, and slowly embrace you.
Yeah.
I think Kratos has obviously got a whole load of issues going on. Being a Greek god, probably being the most minor of them.
Must be a lot of hours a week to work that.
Yeah. I'd like to ask him, what are the other gods like? What's your favourite place to go and eat in ancient Greece? What's your favourite weapon? What's your favourite weapon? Is it really those chain blade things, or is it a sword?
Or are you just forced to use them?
Yeah. How about you?
I'd like to interview Mario.
Nice.
Yeah.
What would you ask him?
I'd ask him, what gives you the right? That's what I'd ask him. What gives you the right?
Who do you think you are?
Who do you think? What gives you the right to run around jumping on all these Goombas' heads in your boxer shorts?
That's a very good question.
It's that moustache, man. Something about it that creates me. I'm telling you right now. Operation U-Tree. Mario called it.
I want to ask Mario what's so special about Peach. He's been chasing this girl for like 30 years. Why? She's obviously not very bright. She's pretty stupid if she gets kidnapped every 10 minutes.
She's Dolly there, isn't she?
Yeah. I mean, is the sex really that good, Mario? Is it?
I don't see any kids. Well, maybe they play safe. I don't know. Maybe you can't conceive.
Wow.
Maybe they,
maybe that's it. Maybe
it's got a big pot belly. Maybe you can't. I'm getting a bit dark here. We're going down the road.
But I don't know. Mario. Do you know what? If you think about it, he's not a very nice guy, is he?
No.
He's a pretty horrible human being.
He goes around mass murdering, punching dinosaurs. He donkey punches Yoshi all the time.
Yeah, smacking Yoshi over the back of the head.
I reckon Bowser might actually be the hero. Have you ever thought about this?
No, but I will do. Yeah. So, you never know. You've not finished Mario Odyssey yet, have you?
I had it for a day, so.
Oh, hurry up. Maybe that's it. Maybe Mario.
I've had about 4 or 5 hours on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe at the end we discover, a big plot twist.
Big plot.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Operation. Maybe at the end he's about to get reunited with Princess Peach, and all of a sudden these British police cars pull up. Operation U-Tree.
Come here. You're nicked.
Yeah. You're nicked, my beauty.
Mario spends the rest of his life rotted away in Strange Ways prison.
Round 2. Fight.
Second question we had from our wonderful audience this week was from Andy Niblo. And Andy Niblo asks, what games were you playing when you were 17 years old? And also, what beers were you drinking? You want to go first on this one?
Yeah, sure. To be fair, when I was 17 years old, I had a bit of quite a break from gaming, but like when I was a kid, up until about the age of about 16, I was very into video games, and then sort of women happened. So I think I kind of fell out of favour with video games for other interests for a while. But I did get a GameCube for Christmas when I was 17.
Look what's happened, it's come full circle.
Yeah. So I got a GameCube for Christmas, and I remember getting Resident Evil Remake, and that was fun. Yeah. And the beer I was drinking, I didn't actually drink a lot of beer. I didn't drink a lot of alcohol when I was 17, surprise. But I did, when we would go down to a nightclub called Hawthorns in Bolton, which
good
was
times on Hawthorns.
synonymous with underage drinking. I'd have bottles of Foster's and Carlsberg for £1 a piece.
Was it £1 a piece?
And then there was also Aftershocks for like £1.50.
I think Aftershocks were £1.
No, they weren't.
Are you sure? I thought everything was £1 on a Thursday night.
Aftershocks a quid, you'd be dead. But then again,
maybe I'm thinking of like apple sours or something like that.
Apple sours probably were. Yeah. I remember drinking around that age, and there were times when I remember like being at the bar drinking, and all of a sudden I'd wake up in my bed. That never happened to you.
Quite a few times, actually.
But
Yeah.
like that, it never happened to me like in my adult life. But like when I was 17, 18, there were times when I remember feeling completely normal and like going up to the bar, and then all of a sudden it'd be black, and I remember my first thought thinking, "Oh fuck no," because I'd realised I blacked out, and then you just acting like a complete pillock and you don't know what you did. That isn't a good.
It sounds
feeling.
about right.
I'm glad that hasn't happened to me in about 15 years.
Hawthorne's, man, what a place. Some great memories there. Great memories.
So what about you?
So when I was 17, it would have been 2002. So we're talking Morrowind. Absolutely rinsed that game. I remember pretty much not leaving my bedroom in my grandma's house for a couple of months and just playing through that game with Niblo, in fact, actually, the guy who asked this question. What else was out? We had Mafia, which I loved, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Hitman 2.
Hitman 2, yeah.
Yeah, it was again really,
that
really
when I was
good.
17.
I remember playing a lot of Age of Mythology, which was like the kind of a sequel to Age of Empires, made by the same studio, you know, very similar mechanics, but a lot prettier, like, and Soldier of Fortune 2.
I remember that game.
Yeah.
I blew my mind on the Dreamcast. You'd shoot someone with a shotgun and it'd blow one of the limbs off, and it was like the craziest, goriest thing I'd ever seen at the time.
Beautiful, man.
It
Love
was
that
amazing.
game. Love that game.
It'd be so tame if you looked at it there.
In terms of what I was drinking, we used to kind of hang out when we were that age, so yeah, same thing, Foster's Carlsberg for £1 a bottle. My dad used to own an Italian restaurant, so we used to get Peroni as well, quite a nice Italian lager, very tasty. So yeah, those were the beers. That kind of wraps up that question. Anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, not really. Apart from, do you know the new Switch cartridges?
Yeah,
Delicious.
I've heard that too.
Very nice.
Definitely, yeah.
Very nice.
Feed them to babies.
I can't, yeah. That's our advice for the week. I'm
Yeah.
not going to be able to play Mario Odyssey until my bowel movement tomorrow morning.
Yeah, if you've got a Switch, definitely try licking the cartridges.
Feed it to the cat.
cards.
Gives it special powers.
Yeah.
Turns it into Garfield.
Yep. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, cats and dogs, that brings us to the end of another episode of the Save State Gaming Podcast. This has been episode 17. Any closing comments for our wonderful audience, Chud?
No, just
Any pearls of wisdom?
thank you. I don't have any pearls of wisdom. I'm sorry if I felt I'm a little slow on the uptake this week. Can't quite get my words out. But thank you for joining us. It's much appreciated. We love you very much.
Hope you've enjoyed it. So, as always, you can find us on Twitter at Save State Gaming Podcast. You can find us on YouTube by searching for Save State Gaming Podcast. You can find me on Twitter at My Name is Saul. How can people reach you, Chudder?
Just the same as
Carrier Pigeon.
Carrier Pigeon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told you, old tramp in the town centre.
Yep.
Give him some money and he'll come.
Yep, it's fine. So, thank you very much, Chudder.
Carrier tramp.
Carrier. Thank you, Chud. It's been a pleasure.
It's alright.
As always. So, thank you very much, ladies and gents.
Join us next week.
Take care of yourself.
Woo!
Bye.
Bye.
Music for episode 17 was once again very kindly provided by the following artists: Tom Hannay, Joakim Karud, DOS88, G.I.Z, Media Right Productions, Joey Pecoraro, Silent Partner, Nkato, Joji and Kubbi. So thank you very much once again, guys, for your wonderful, wonderful music. And as always, you can find links to those tracks down in these descriptions below the video and podcast.